Hi, everybody. Welcome again to Enjoy English School. I'm Bruce.
I'm Antony.
Today we have our Cloze problem for you. It's a problem that you can learn from. We have a couple of paragraphs with 5 missing words or phrases, and you have to decide which of 4 choices best fits. The others don't fit, so it's actually easier because only one is grammatically or logically correct. Okay, are you ready? Let's begin. Imagine working on an important project from home. Now, most of you are students, so you probably don't have projects yet, not work projects, but you could have school projects once you get into middle school. You and a group of other students might have to do a little research and then write about it, or have an experiment and do something and show the results. That would be what we would call a project.
Yeah, 所以我们来先看到，我们今天要讲的是克漏字。在克漏字里头的话，我们题目呢是激发人思考创意的环境咖啡馆。我要各位你们在做报告啦，或者是甚至做专案的时候，你们会到什么地方去？老师刚刚就提到说，第一句话 ，Imagine working on an important project from home。那如果说今天想象一下，你呢必须要去做一个专案 ，working on something， 就是你在做这件事情 ，a important project 一个重要的专案，或是学校的报告 ，from home 在家里做这件事情。好，那就告诉我们说，哦，在这个场景之下，我们可以做报告的时候，可以选择什么样的场所。
Our next sentence starts with one of our closed blanks. And so, blank hard you try to focus, you can't get anything done. How many times has that happened to me? Now let's look at our choices. The first is whether, to, or B, despite, C, even though, or D, no matter how. Well, let's see what it means. Hard you try to focus, you can't get anything done. You tried to do something, but it's not possible. Well, we should choose D here. No matter how hard, so how will modify hard. You try to focus, you put your attention on your work, but you just can't seem to do it, so you can't get anything done. Choose D.
没错，在这个地方呢，你可以注意到说 hard you try， 那在这边我们选 D 这个选项 ，no matter how hard you try， 不管你再怎么努力，这个 how 呢就是来修饰后面的 hard， 再怎么努力呢都怎么样 ？You try to focus, you can't get anything done， 你却呢什么事情都没办法做好，可能呢家里诱惑太多，可能觉得哎在这个环境里面没有什么生产力 ，not very productive， 所以这个时候的话，我们答案选的是 D，no matter how。
So, you grab your laptop and head to the nearest coffee shop. A lot of people do that these days. Many coffee shops have the ability to support the use of laptops. And you can see this all the time, certainly here in the big city of Taipei. It seems every coffee shop has people working on their laptops. And why would you leave home and go to a coffee shop is explained in the rest of the article.
没错，所以在这边的话，你再看到这一句话说 ，So you grab your laptop， 这个 laptop 当然你的是笔记型电脑，对不对？你就抓着你的笔记型电脑 and head to the nearest coffee shop。既然在家里工作没有什么效率，没有什么生产力的话，你就抓你这个笔记型电脑呢，就跑去了咖啡馆。那至于为什么要跑去咖啡馆，在下面的文章里面就会告诉你了。
Within minutes. That's a short time, 5, 10, not more than 15. Within minutes, new ideas are flowing after you blank a warm cup of joe. So flow means to come out just like water in a river or in a stream. They come out without stopping. After you blank a warm cup of joe. Joe is slang for coffee. A cup of coffee may stimulate your mind and you will start thinking of many new ideas. But after you blank a warm cup of joe. Well, what do we do with coffee? Do we A, sip it, B, skip it, C, serve it, or D, spray it? I hope you don't spray it. You should sip it. Sip is to drink just a little at a time. So the answer clearly is A. You sip your cup of joe.
没错，老师刚才解释的过程当中有提到一个很重要的字 stimulate。stimulate 就是刺激的意思，它的拼法是 stimulate your thinking， 也就是刺激你的思考。所以这句话呢，他说 within minutes， 好，在没几分钟的时间之内呢 ，new ideas are flowing， 就像水一样，我们中文也会讲文思泉涌，对不对？也是用水的概念去说明的。New ideas are flowing after you。然后这个地方我们答案选的是 A. Sip a warm cup of Joe。好，在稍微啜了一口这个咖啡之后呢，灵感就涌现了。好，这太神奇了。
But why is this so? How does this happen? Just sipping coffee in a coffee shop, suddenly you're very productive? And the next paragraph will tell us more about that.
没错，所以最后他就问你说，那为什么会这样呢 ？But why is this so？ 为什么会这样的现象出现
All right, let's take a short break. Okay, let's start our second paragraph. One reason why many people work better at coffee shops, blank the environment. We are missing some important information here. Now, the idea is to explain the question we asked at the end of the first paragraph. How is it that, why can, or how can people improve their focus and performance by going to a coffee shop? So our choices here would be A, puts up with, B, comes down to, C, makes up for, or D, gets away from. Well, you may get away from home, but you don't get away from the environment that will cause you to be creative. That doesn't make sense. If you put up with the environment, again, you have to work hard to focus, so why leave home if a coffee shop, if you have to put up with a coffee shop? Make up for, one thing will substitute for another. One thing will take the place of another. Yeah, we know that, but it doesn't explain why. Comes down to, that means the result or the end of a question, the answer to a question. We can start with A comes down to B. So the reason for A is B, or the situation of A explains B. And the coffee shop explains, has an environment that explains why people can be more productive with their work than at home.
没错，在这里的话，选项里面你看到他的文章里面写说 ，One reason why many people work better at coffee shops。为什么大家会在这个咖啡馆里面工作的时候效率比较高呢？原因在于，所以这里的话，我们如果提到原因的话，我们这边可以选 B 这个选项 ，comes down to， 追根结底就到了环境的原因。那至于老师刚刚讲的其他像 A 这个选项 ，puts up with。意思就是 ，if you put up with something, you have to endure。你要去忍耐忍受，你干嘛跑到一个你要去忍受的环境？不可能嘛。那 makes up for 有点补偿的效果，补偿了什么东西 ？I don't know how to make up for your loss。这时候的话也不会用在这里头。gets away from 更不可能是离开了家，可是你不会想离开这个环境。所以在这里的话，我们答案选的是 B。追根结底的原因是在于环境的因素。
Okay, next sentence. The sounds of people whispering and hot coffee being poured help increase our creativity. So in a coffee shop, people don't usually talk very loudly and laugh like they're in a bar or even a restaurant. People tend to be more quiet in a coffee shop, and maybe they even whisper to each other. That is whispering. As you pour is to take a liquid from one vessel and put it into another vessel.
没错，老师还甚至刚刚还故意 demonstrate 去展示一下什么叫做 whisper， 他突然用低声的说话，你还说哈，现在发生什么事？没有，就是 whisper 意思就是低声说话的意思。这样子 ，OK， 所以说，当你今天讲到说 the sounds of people whispering， 你会听到背景的后面有人在窃窃私语的感觉，就低声说话的。And hot coffee being poured help increase our creativity， 甚至你听到那个咖啡，甚至在那个咖啡机在动，那种声音，那种白噪音的感觉，会让你更专注在你现在的工作里头。
Okay, next sentence is our fourth blank or close. These blank noises are a small distraction and push people to work and focus a little harder. If people are whispering, it doesn't bother you. You don't really have to listen to it. If people are singing or shouting, you can't help but hear it, and that will distract you. Here's an important word. To distract is literally to pull away your attention. You were doing one thing, but you are interrupted, you are distracted, and you do something else. These light noises, the whispering or the pouring of coffee, they don't really bother anybody, so people can focus and tend to their work.
Yeah， 所以在这里的话呢，他就告诉你原因了。These blank noises are small distraction. Distraction 就是指小小的这种分心，分心的状态，让你分心的东西也叫做 distraction. And push people， 去努力的去让大家可以怎么样呢？To work and focus a little harder， 会更专注在你工作上面，因为有一些这种外在的一些小小的干扰，所以你会更加的专注，集中在你的工作上头。所以在这里头的话，我们有4个选项，有 A engine， B target，C ambulance， D background。所以在这边的话呢，我们会选的是 D background。These background noises， 好，这些背景的声音，虽然是小小的让你分心的事物，但是会帮助你更专注在你现在的工作上头。
The people who sit around us in coffee shops can also provide an extra drive. Here, drive is not this drive. It's a push or some encouragement. And we find out in the next sentence, you might think, well, wouldn't other people be a distraction? But maybe not.Yeah，
所以在这边他就告诉你说 ，the people who sit around us in coffee shops， 其他坐在我们身边的这些人，同样是在这咖啡店里的人呢 ，can also provide an extra drive。老师刚才讲说 not this kind of drive， 老师在做这个开车的手势，对不对？不是在开车啦，而是说 extra drive 这种驱动的力，驱动力的感觉。身旁的人对你的那个工作的这个效率来讲，也会有一种驱动的效果。怎么说呢？下面就告诉你了。
Here's the reason. Seeing others focused on their work and studies makes us want to do the same. Now, you probably know this or have heard it. We have a saying in English, monkey see, monkey do.
有样学样。
When you see other people working, you're not going to feel comfortable unless you're working too.
没错，所以说很多时候有同侪的压力 peer pressure， 对不对？大家都在很认真的工作的时候，你发现到你自己在那边玩耍废，觉得好像怪怪的，好吧，我还认真工作好了，所以旁边会有一个推波助澜，帮助你认真工作的一个效果。
Okay, next sentence is our last close item. When people are at home, it's blank easier to talk yourself into taking a TV or social media break. Well, I've been working for 10 minutes. That's enough. Now I'm going to call my friend. And then you go back another 5 or 10 minutes. Oh, there's a good TV program on now. So you can be very interrupted. So we are saying in a coffee shop, it's blank easier. Is it quite easier, very easier, much easier, or lot easier? If it were a lot easier, a lot easier, we could say that. Much easier is the answer that we need.
没错，在这边的话考的是怎么样去修饰比较级的概念。所以如果你用 easier 这个比较级了之后，前面要去讲简单很多，这个很多可以怎么讲呢？在这边的话，如果是 D 选项从 lot 变成 a lot， 就可以选 a lot easier 是 OK 的，但他们没有那个所以 D 不能选。我们这里答案要选 C， much easier. Sometimes you can also say far easier. 好，就是更简单的很多。所以有几个重要的字汇，常常像 far, much 或是 a lot 都可以搭配比较级去形容这个程度更多的意思。所以整句话意思就是说，当人们在家的时候 when people are at home, it is much easier to talk yourself into something 就是指说服自己，哎呀，我已经读了10分钟了，够了。来 taking a TV break 好 take a TV break 去看一下电视 or a social media break 我来看看那个朋友有在做些什么，来滑一下 IG 滑一下脸书等等，就会做一些这样的事情，很快的就没有办法专注在你的工作上头。
Okay, so even though we've finished all the Cloze items, we have another paragraph for you coming up in a moment. Okay, now we can finish our final short paragraph. Coffee shops can also help us to relax. And for some people, they can't work well unless they're relaxed. It doesn't mean they're lazy or sleepy, but and then that helps some people focus.
没错，所以在这边的话，我们就提到最后一段提到另外一个原因 ，Coffee shops can also help us to relax。在这边的话，老师，我们可不可以讲 help us relax 也可以，对不对？
Yes.
很多时候在美语里面 help someone， 他们可以讲 to do something 或是 do something。大部分人都会把那个 to 省略掉，因为他们觉得这样讲比较简单，容易了解。那这边的话就是说，它可以帮助我们放松下来。光是闻到那个 the aroma of coffee， 整个就放松下来，就开始进入到有这种创造力的状态了嘛，对不对？
Continuing, you don't need to worry when you're in a coffee shop. You don't need to worry about family members interrupting you, distracting you. Hey, help me do this. Hey, do you remember? La la la. You can be distracted or interrupted quite a bit if your family members are home with you, or if you're a worker, a boss looking over your shoulder. The boss wants to make sure you're working, and he doesn't necessarily say anything, but it can make people feel nervous, they can't relax, and they can't focus.
没错，在这边的话呢，他就说，为什么你会比较放松呢？因为你不在家里嘛，所以不会有家人的干扰。You don't need to worry about family members interrupting you. 好 ，interrupting 在这里的话特别小心，就是 interrupt 就是指干扰到、打断你现在在做的事情。Or a boss 好，或者是你的老板 looking over your shoulder 从你背后这个地方像背后灵一样看看你在干嘛，你们在工作，好，这样很恐怖，对不对？这些压力都不会有，你在这边的话就很放松的做自己该做的事。
So in the coffee shop, you can just enter the shop, order some coffee, and sit down to do your best work. That's what we've been saying all along.
所以最后还讲说 ，You can just enter the shop， 好，你只要进来这咖啡厅 ，order some coffee， 大家点个咖啡 ，and sit down to do your best work， 好好的把工作做好。
Okay, that's it for today's lesson. Hope you had some fun and learned a little bit with us today. We're here for you every day. Not always us two. Unlucky you. But we're here. Ivy is here for you. Until the next time.
Bye-bye.
第42页，克漏字，激发人思考创意的环境，咖啡馆。
Improve creativity at coffee shops. Imagine working on an important project from home. No matter how hard you try to focus, you can't get anything done. So you grab your laptop and head to the nearest coffee shop. Within minutes, new ideas are flowing after you sip a warm cup of joe. But why is this so? One reason why many people work better at coffee shops comes down to the environment. The sounds of people whispering and hot coffee being poured help increase our creativity. These background noises are a small distraction and push people to work and focus a little harder. The people who sit around us in coffee shops can also provide an extra drive. Seeing others focused on their work and studies makes us want to do the same. When people are at home, it's much easier to talk yourself into taking a TV or social media break. Coffee shops can also help us to relax. You don't need to worry about family members interrupting you or a boss looking over your shoulder. You can just enter the shop, order some coffee, and sit down to do your best work.